It's the end of 2022. Things are still weird. It feels like the world is in turbulent times, but here at Berm Peak, we're still riding bikes, we're still doing weird stuff. And so in many ways, 2022 is just like any other year. But we started off by wrapping up a project that had been in development for years, Berm Park. Now, as you know, Berm Park is the free public bike park funded by this audience, members on Patreon, individual donors, and sponsors that are affiliated with the channel, all pitched in to build a public bike park in Canton, North Carolina. You pedal up to the top, and then there are 5 different runs you can take. There are jumps, rollers, berms, everything you'd find at a big bike park, but in a little mini one that you can spend a little bit of time at and have a lot of fun. And so it's like another location in the Berm Peak universe that you guys got to see come to fruition. Now, of course, we opened Berm Park, but we also built a few new things on Berm Peak this year. We totally rebuilt Snake Pit, put a bigger jump in there, and made the beeline way sketchier. Kyle had come and visited and tried to jump Snake Pit backwards. That was the old version with the smaller jump. I'd like to see him come back and try this new one. We also built the Banana Cannon, which is just a cannon jump behind the berm down in Moonshangle Thickets. And further up the trail, we built the front door jump. It's actually the front door of my house, windows and all. We put epoxy over the windows to strengthen them. We mounted it to some logs. And now you can scream down the trail and skip off of it right into the Banana Cannon. Now, over the course of 2023, there was also a really big change in our biking world. The pandemic created all this demand. Bike companies were selling bikes like crazy, loading up on inventory, and then everything fell off a cliff. So that series that I was doing, Flip Bike, where I was taking old bikes and fixing them up and selling them, that's just not feasible anymore. Bike shops and bike companies are practically giving bikes and bike parts away, and so I can't do much in terms of making a profit on used bikes anymore, but once the market returns to normal, I'm excited to get back to doing more Flip Bike. Now, around the same time of the year, I actually traveled for my first time since the pandemic, went out to Sedona with the Porters and had a good time. And then when I came back and the excitement of the spring died down, something not so good happened. I lost my sponsorship with Diamondback, which was my only sponsor. Now, I had some great years with Diamondback, and I'll always look back on them with some fondness. And although I lost that partnership and the income and bikes that came along with it, I did end up with a little more freedom. And so this year, we got to review some really weird bikes. Now, of course, this started with the Kent Travail, which is a story that's still in progress. So we started out with this Walmart bike that looked really good. And this is not a Walmart.com bike. This is available in Walmart stores. And so, of course, it's put together by their world-famous assemblers. So when you get it back to the shop, you know what happens. Everything on it is messed up. There are parts that are broken. There are things that are crooked, backwards. And once we corrected all that, we found out that it's not so bad of a bike. It's not perfect. We blew up the bottom bracket.
Ooh, what's that?
I crashed and bent the handlebars. And of course, we had to take it home and put some upgrades on the bike. And so that is something that we are continuing to do. We also got to check out some weird bike parts like the Cannondale Lefty. We did a whole historical overview of the Lefty and why it's so weird. Speaking of weird suspension, I also acquired a Slingshot Bike, which is a super weird bike from the 90s that doesn't have a down tube. It has a cable in place of it, and kind of the flexibility of the frame is what makes the bike ride smoothly. So we got a little sketchy with that thing, and I still haven't sold it. And so I have this very expensive vintage bike that I've got to put on eBay one of these days. But not only did we review weird bikes and weird bike parts that were brought in from the outside, we actually created one of our own. I have been planning for years to try and build a tall bike, but I never really had the resources to do so. And so this year, I finally made it happen, and I must say, it came out not so bad. And of course, 4 water bottle cages, because it would be a shame if we didn't do that. And while I thought it would be a one-off thing that I would just kind of build and put in the storage unit, it's remained always out in my garage because if I get bored for a few minutes, I take it out and just ride it around in circles. And so it's been one of my weirdest, most unique bikes, and basically the only one that was actually fabricated here at Berm Peak. Now in the background, I also acquired a couple of new bikes that I'll actually ride. The first was the Rebel Rail, which is a 27.5 enduro bike that can really handle anything, and I've been having a blast on that. But all the while in the background, I was working on a custom bike, a custom titanium hardtail, handmade according to an exhaustive list of specifications. Now you saw that recently, we built up my Sage hardtail, and I realized that it's quite possibly the first bike that's ever truly fit me. Now with all these bike builds and weird bikes and weird bike parts, we've been spending a lot of time in the workshop, and so we've made some changes here. First of all, I finally got a 3D printer. That's been a major request in the comments. Seth, you gotta get a 3D printer. When is Seth gonna get a 3D printer? I wanted to do my research, I wanted to do it right, and I think I did. I've been having a lot of fun with this thing. I think as long as we go easy on it, she's gonna work. Ooh. Now, of course, I had a plan for what we were gonna do with this 3D printer. I always knew I was gonna build a laboratory in here. The way that the workshop was before, opposite the bike shop was my office. That's where I edit videos, that's where my assistant producer edits videos, and it was always floor space that we could have used for more shop stuff. And so I built a mezzanine. What a mezzanine is it's an elevated platform that you can put indoors for extra space. Now, a lot of people use them for storage. I used it to build an office. This happened recently, and so the developments that come with this laboratory are yet to be seen. But my 3D printer's been running 24/7, and it's nice that it now has an actual home. Now, one of the biggest videos that we did of 2022 ended up being the bike shop prank. Now this took a lot of planning. We got this old weird bike, we had an actor, and he went to Squatch and told Pat to install these really, really expensive parts on it. And Pat was super professional when he came in, and then once he left, we heard all the things that Pat had to say.
Somebody with a machine shop got a little crazy. Oh baby. Dude, I think we're gonna clear. I can't believe this is gonna work. Someone's tried to make this work. Every box is open and like the chain already has one of the links taken out of it. It's got a $90 chain on a $90 bicycle.
Now there were a few commenters that thought that we faked this. It would actually be harder to fake it. And if we were faking it, honestly, we could have made it a much better video. We hid all these GoPros everywhere. We got what footage we could. And what we ended up with was just a hodgepodge of just little comments and occurrences that I have to somehow assemble into a coherent video. But that video ended up being really fun. We got Pat really good.
I knew.
And we ended up with quite possibly the only 90s full suspension bike in existence that has SRAM axis shifting on it. Now, another great thing about 2022 for me, I didn't get injured at all. Although I guess that depends on what you call an injury. So we survived 2022. I think it was easier than surviving the previous 2 years, and hopefully the next one will be even easier. Hopefully we'll do even more fun stuff here on Berm Peak. If you've only been subscribed to one of our channels, Berm Peak or Berm Peak Express, make sure you subscribe to the other one so you can get all the great content that's gonna be coming through in the next year. Thanks for riding with me today, and I'll see you next time. You can do it by hand, but it's really, really difficult. Rufus does it by hand.
You ain't a man if you can't can.
He's a big dude, he's got no problem with it, but I damn near broke my fingers off. Ooh.